Well, I mean, when it comes to Ryan Coogler and his body of work, as a minority, a black man growing up, I didn't see as much as myself in Spike Lee movies as much as I saw it in Ryan Coogler's movies, right? Like I do understand what it is to struggle to figure out who you are as a man, as a person. I mean, watching Black Panther like a million times and then seeing the layers in a Marvel movie where you see black on black crime and fatherless children, how they grow up in their perspective, and all the other person was trying to do was break out of tradition, and it left his son fatherless, and how Chadwick Boseman's character, Black Panther T'Challa, decided, I'm also going to break away from tradition, but I have the power that this person didn't have. I have the power to actually make some change, and so me being in a place of privilege, right? Like I grew up in Chino Hills, I went to a private school. What does that mean for me being black? Like I struggled with that identity for a very long time. Like what the media portrays as black, do I fit that? Not at all. I've had a bunch of um, white friends tell me you're not like them, and I don't know what that means, but I mean, we know what it means. But it's like, like struggling with that identity. Okay, so then who am I supposed to be? And then you go into his Creed movies where you have a young black man struggling with the death of his dad, and how do I fill those shoes, and my one of my father figures was my grandfather, and how do I as a man be that, and growing up and trying to figure out how to do that, and then watching Sinners and then seeing these tough black men, particularly I think it was Smoke, right? Was he the one with the I always forget who they are since they're twins. Anyways, this is the struggle now with I see that people have with me and my brother, where he had the ex-wife, where he had the child with, you know, and you see this really tough man just be completely vulnerable with the person he loves, and you were able to see him emotionally get undressed in front of the camera, and so like how do I as a person balance all of that? As a black man, I have a societal depiction of who I'm supposed to be, but I know who I want to be. And so how do I maintain those things and still navigate, the societal norms, that are within society, like I find myself code switching all the time, so it's like you see that in his movies, and then suddenly you go, okay, like this is all normal, right? Just in the little scene in Sinners where you see them with the Asian shopkeepers, and in one shop they're talking one way, and they literally code switch in the next scene, to talk to the other white Southerners another way. It was just, you see all of these things happening in Coogler's movies that are so layered is what resonates with me, that makes me go, oh wait, that's me too. I remember that when I was in high school. I remember struggling through these things in college. I remember trying to figure out who I was as a man. Now that I'm like, I feel like, I mean, we're always growing, but I feel like I'm a much better person now, almost at 40 years old, where I'm more confident. But I see those things happening in his movies and I go, yeah, I remember going through those trials to become the person that I am today, who I can be vulnerable with my wife. I can very much express and be happy around children and love them and not feel like I am betraying this